Welcome back. Welcome back to the road trip. Kingdom builders, road trippers, Akim, Akatim, brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, aunties and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, everybody in the house. Welcome back to the road trip. Shalom. All right, shalom. All right, welcome back. So here we are, getting ready to read some more. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings to you and your homes, your dwelling places, where you stay at. Right? Your children, your loved ones, your friends, and your pets, and little fur babies. All that good stuff, right? The stuff that you need so much in your life, Mishpachah. Right? That's right, fam and friends. Correct. All right, so we're here. All praises to the Most High, Abba Yahweh, right? All praises to Yahweh. Glory to Yahweh Shai. Honors to the Ruach HaKadosh. And my love and my respect to you, right? That's right. And you know what? Shakora Ani Veinava. I am black and beautiful. And you should say that every day to yourself, Yasharel, right? We are the nation. And we're beautiful people, man. We're a beautiful countenance, right? Shakora Avi Veinava. Right? Avi Veinava. Alright. That's what it translates to in the Hebrew, by the way. Alright. Shakora Avi Veinava. Alright. So anyway, we are back in the works of Flavius Josephus, the Jewish Antiquities, the Antiquities of the Yahudim, reading chapter 10 on book 2, how Moshe made war with the Ethiopians. All right, that's going to be good to hear. All right, so if you have these scrolls available to you, please follow along with me. It's going to be a good read, so let's go ahead and do this together. Mishpachah, family, all right, my camps, my tribes, I love you, all right? Let's get ready to read, all right? So let's give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Abba Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and Baruch Hashem to you. Let's get ready to start. No further ado. Chapter 10, let's begin. All right. All right, section 1, and it reads, Moshe, therefore, when he was born and brought up in a foregoing manner, and came to the age of maturity, made his virtue manifest to the Egyptians, and showed that he was born for the bringing them down and raising the Israelites. And the occasion he laid hold of was this: the Ethiopians, who are next neighbors to the Egyptians, made an inroad into the country, which they seized upon and carried off the effects of the Egyptians, who in their rage fought against them, and revenged the affronts they had received from them. But, being overcome in battle, some of them were killed, and the rest ran away in a shameful manner, and by that means saved themselves. Whereupon the Ethiopians followed after them in pursuit, and thinking that it would be a mark of cowardice if they did not subdue all Egypt, Mizraim, they went on to subdue the rest with greater vehemence. And when they had tasted the sweets of the country, they never left off the persecution of war. And as the nearest parts had not courage enough to fight the fight with them, they proceeded as far as Memphis and the sea itself, while not one of the cities was able to oppose them. The Egyptians, under this sad oppression, consulted their oracles and prophecies. And when the Most High Yahweh had given them this counsel to make use of Moshe the Hebrew and take his assistance, the king commanded his daughter to produce him, that he might be a general of their army. Upon which, when she made him swear he would do him no harm, she delivered him to the king, and supposed his assistance would be of great advantage to them. She then reproached the priest, who, when they had before admonished the Egyptians to kill him, was not ashamed now to admit their need of his help. That's the end of section 1. Hallelujah, Selah. Let's continue. Section 2 reads, So Moshe, at the persuasion both of Thermothis and the king himself, cheerfully undertook the business, and the sacred scribes of both nations were glad, those of the Egyptians that they should at once overcome their enemies by this valor, and that by the same piece of management Moshe would be killed. But those of the Hebrews that they should escape from the Egyptians, because Moshe was to be their general. But Moshe prevented the enemies and took and led his army before those enemies were apprised of his attacking them. For he did not march by the river, but by land, where he gave a wonderful demonstration of his wisdom. For when the ground was difficult to be passed over because of the multitude of serpents, which it produces in vast numbers, and indeed in singular in some of those productions, which other countries do not breed, and yet such as are worse than fierceness of sight, some of which ascend out of the ground unseen, and also fly in the air, and so come upon men in unawares, and do them mischief. Moshe invented a wonderful stratagem to preserve the army safe and without hurt. For he made baskets like unto arks of sledge, and filled them with lives and ibes, right? And carried them along with them, which animals is the greatest enemy to serpents imaginable, for they fly from them when they come near them, right? And as they fly, they are caught and devoured by them, as if it were done by the hearts. But the ibes are tame creatures, and only enemies to the serpentine, right? The only serpentine kind, like snake-like, right? But about these ibes I say no more at present, since the Greeks themselves are not unacquainted with this sort of bird. It's a bird, okay? These birds eat snakes. Interesting. Let's continue reading. All right. As soon, therefore, as Moshe was come to the land which was the breeder of the serpents, he let loose the ibes, and by their means repelled the serpentine kind, and used them for his assistance before the army came upon the ground. When he had therefore proceeded thus on his journey, he came upon the Ethiopians before they expected him, and joining battle against them, he beat them and deprived them of the hopes they had of succeeding, right, against the Egyptians. And it went on to overthrow their cities, and indeed made a great slaughter of the Egyptians. Now when the Egyptian army had once tasted of its prosperous success, by the means of Moshe they did not slacken their diligence, insomuch that the Ethiopians were in danger of being reduced to slavery and all sorts of destruction. And at length they retired to Saba, which was a loyal and a royal city of Ethiopia, which Cambyses afterward named Moro, after the name of his own sister. The place was to be besieged with very great difficulty, since it was both encompassed by the Nile quite around and the other rivers. Astapus and Astaboras made it very difficult thing for such an attempted to pass over them. For the city was situated in an isolated place, and was inhabited after the manner of an island, being encompassed with a strong wall, and having the rivers to guard them from their enemies, and having great ramparts between the wall and the river, insomuch that when the waters come with a great violence, it can never be drowned. With ramparts make it next to impossible for even such as are gotten over the rivers to take the city. However, while Moshe was uneasy at the armies lying idle, for the enemies dared not come to the battle, this incident happened. Tharbis was the daughter of the king of the Ethiopians. She happened to see Moshe as he had led the army near the walls and fought with great courage, and admiring the subtlety of his undertakings, and believing him to be the author of the Egyptian success, when they had before despaired of recovering their liberty, and to be the occasion of the great danger of the Ethiopians were in, when they had before boasted of their great achievements. She fell deeply in love with him, and upon the prevalency of the passion, sent to him the most faithful of all her servants to discourse with him about their marriage. He thereupon accepted of the offer, right? He was like, yeah, okay, cool, on condition she would procure the deliverance and the delivering up of the city, and gave her the assurance of an oath to take her to his wife, and that when he had once taken possession of the city, he would not break his oath to her. No sooner was the agreement made, but it took effect immediately. And when Moshe had cut off the Ethiopians, he gave thanks to the Most High Yahweh, and consummated his marriage, and led the Egyptians back to their own land. That's the end of that section, which was long. Section 2. There was no section 3. And we're going to start reading the notes, because that's the end of chapter 10. And we're going to continue. All right? Cool. All right, reading the notes of chapter 10, book number 2, Jewish Antiquities. Point number 1 reads, this history of Moshe in general of the Egyptians against the Ethiopians and wholly omitted in our Bibles, but it is thus by Irenaeus from Josephus, and that soon after his own age, Josephus says that when Moshe was nourished in that place, in that palace, he was appointed general of the army against the Ethiopians and conquered them, when he married that king's daughter, because out of her affection for him, she delivered the city up to him. See the fragments of Irenaeus, right? Appendix edit, page 472. Nor perhaps did St. Stephen refer to anything, see the heathens, Saint Heathen, right? Saint Stephen, right? Refer to anything else when he said of Moshe, before he was sent by the Most High Yahweh to the Israelites, that he was not only learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, but was also mighty in words and in deeds, right? Reference Acts 7 and 22. All right, let's read the next point. All right, point number 2. Pliny speaks of these birds called ibes, and says the Egyptians invoked them against the serpents. There's some references there on historical national biblical Bible, chapter 10 and chapter 28. Strabo speaks of this island, Meroe, and these rivers, Astapus and Astoboras, right? And those are in pages 771, 786, and also the next chapter, 17, page 821. All right, and we're going to go ahead and continue on to chapter 11, how Moshe fled out of Mizraim into Midian. This is going to be kind of a short chapter with no notes, so we're going to go ahead and just put that one here. All right, let's go ahead and get it. Chapter 11, section 1, and it reads, Now the Ethiopians, after they had been preserved by Moshe, entertained a hatred for him, and were very eager in plotting their schemes, right, their schemes against him, as suspecting that he would take occasion from his good success to raise a rebellion and bring innovations to Mizraim, and told the king he ought to be killed. The king had also some intentions of himself to the same purpose, and this was well out of the envy of his glorious expedition at the head of his army, as, out of fear of being brought low by him and being instigated by the sacred scribes, he was ready to undertake to kill Moshe. But when he had learned beforehand that plots were against him, he went away privately, and because the public roads were watched, he took his flight through the deserts, and where his enemies could not suspect he would travel. And though he was destitute of food, he went on and despised that difficulty courageously. And when he came to the city Midian, which lay upon the Red Sea, and was so named after one of Abraham's sons by Keturah, he sat upon a certain wall and rested himself there after his laborious journey, right? And the affliction he had been in, it was not far from the city, and the time of the day was noon, so midday, where he had an occasion offered him by the custom of the country of doing what recommended his virtue and afforded him an opportunity of bettering his circumstances. That's the end of section 1. Okay, cool. Section 2, and it reads, "For that country having but little water, the shepherds used to seize on the wells before others came, so their flock should not want for water, and so it should not be spent by others before they came. There were now come therefore to this well 7 sisters that were virgins, the daughters of Reuel, a priest, and one thought worthy by the people of the country of great honor. These virgins who took care of their father's flocks, which sort of work it was customary and very familiar for women to do in the country of the troglodytes. They came first of all, and drew water out of the well in a quantity sufficient for their flocks into troughs, which were made for the reception of that water. But when the shepherds came upon the maidens and drove them away, that they might have the command of the water themselves, Moshe, thinking it would be a terrible reproach upon himself if he overlooked the young women under unjust oppression, and should suffer the violence of the men to prevail over the right of the maidens, he drove away the men who had a mind to more than their share, and afforded a proper assistance to the women, who, when they had received such a benefit from him, came to their father and told him how they had been driven off by the shepherds, and assisted by a stranger, and entreated that he would not let this generous action be done in vain, nor go without a reward. Now the father took it well from his daughters, that they were so desirous to reward the benefactor, and direct them bring Moshe into his presence, that he might be rewarded as he deserved. And when Moshe came, he told him what testimony his daughters bore to him, that he had assisted them, and that as he admired him for his virtue, he said that Moshe had bestowed such an assistance on persons not insensible of benefits, but where they were both able and willing to return the kindness, and even to exceed the measure of his generosity. So he made him his son, and gave him one of his daughters in marriage, and appointed him to be the guardian, the superintendent over his cattle. For of old, all the wealth of the barbarians was in those cattle. That's the end of chapter 11. Alright, and there's no notes there. And I guess we'll go ahead and pick up on chapter 12 concerning the burning bush and the rod of Moshe on the next one. Alright, cool. Thanks for being here with me. Cool. Alright, I guess we'll part ways here. Alright, but until we read again, until we speak again, please be safe out there on the roads as you're traveling to and fro, up and down. Right? Be safe. And you know the program. As always, it's all praises to the Most High. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Abba Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. My love and my respect to you, and honors to the Ruach HaKodesh. All right? And I'll see you all very, very soon. I love you. Yeah. Peace.